Shalom. Call halal Yahweh Bashem Abishai by Hashem Bakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth to be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners. And to the Akwath that are listening and learning to you, I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago. And I also like to give thanks to those who've donated alms and the priest offering. Much appreciated, and it was much needed. Thank you. But this is basically a story on that came across my feed. Actually, I'm subscribed to it, to Law Enforcement America, and they send out news articles. And going onto it, I ended up clicking onto the Daily News. So this is actually on the Daily News, which it popped up all the different stories. And it's a story about Scott Baio, former member of the Happy Days crew from the old television sitcom with Happy Days, and they were having a fundraiser. Daily News, and it reads, Scott Baio won't encourage the foment rioting by taking part in the Happy Days reunion as at Democratic fundraiser. So he's against it for that reason. All right. And it reads, somehow the show will go on. Several members of the cast of Happy Days, the long-running sitcom, are reuniting for a virtual fundraiser for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And Scott Baio, a former star and Trump supporter, will not be joining them. So this is just going to show you how the Egyptian is versus the Egyptian, how Esau is divided. And a house divided cannot stand. They can't stand because they stand for different things, you know. They have different values and that whole sort of thing. All right. Salakia. I have to take that away. Salakia. It says the fundraiser is scheduled for Sunday and so far set to include Ron Howard, Henry Winkler, Don Most, Anson Wilson, and Marion Ross. And proceeds from the reunion will benefit the Wisconsin Democratic Party. Happy Days was set in Milwaukee, but Chachi won't be joining them. Chachi was a character played by Scott Baio, who was one of my favorite characters on that show. You know, when I watched that show when I was a kid, you know, and he was one of the main characters, you know. But real quick, let's grab a scripture. This is Isaiah 19. Salakia. And 2. And it reads, actually, I'm going to start it up. No, yeah, I've heard it start at verse 2. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, and city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. And that is what's happening in the world right now as I speak. It's kingdom against kingdom, nation against nation, and people against people. And these Edomites are going at each other, man. All right, they're going back and forth at each other. When you go to into Second Ezra, let's go to Second Ezra, the 11th chapter. I'm gonna read like verses 1 through 3, and it reads: Then I saw in a dream, and behold, there came up from the sea an eagle, which had 12 feathers, wings, and 3 heads. And I saw and behold, she spread her wings over the earth, and all the winds of the air blew on her, and were gathered together. And I beheld out of her were 2 feathers that grew contrary feathers, and there became little feathers and very small. So basically, this was the birth of the Roman Empire. All right, but out the gate, they had different views. The rulers had different views and different ways of doing things, and they were against each other. Right? You jump up to verse 10 and 11, and it reads, And I beheld, and lo, the voice went out not of her heads, but from the midst of her body. And that's where we are now. The Democratic Party and the Republican Party, and then you got a Senate. That's what, and it was coming out of the body, not out of the heads. All right. The president is just a mouthpiece, but the real decisions come from the middle, from the body, from the House of Representatives and the Senate. All right. And this new Babylon, Rome, Egypt, all rolled into one, are basically mimicking that and doing the same thing. And as a result, the citizens are turning one on against another. That's what's happening. And when they do this, they try to make themselves look, smart and intelligent, and that they're the wise leaders of the earth, when all they're doing is committing chaos, man, and bringing death, to the masses of the people, death and destruction, man, by way of wars, by way of their wicked policies, controlling food, controlling power, controlling resources, and all these horrible medicines that make people sick. Okay. They push this for big pharmaceuticals, and this whole democratic thing is, hey, the word breaks down to rule of the demons, man. Demo, and then crazy, rule of the demons. That's what it breaks down to, man. All right, so matter of fact, let me grab another quick scripture. This is not going to be long. It's going to be fast. This is Daniel 8:25, and it reads, "And through his policy he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace he shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand." So all this is leading, all this democracy is tearing their people apart. They're at each other's throats. The other nations are rejecting it, and what it's going to lead up is to the other nations banding together to try to fight against the Lord, which they're going to lose horribly. And we're marching down that road very, very quickly. All these things are in here. There's no longer coming. They're here. All right. They're here. Okay. So let's go back to this article and read a little bit more of this article. Because, Happy Days was set in Milwaukee, and that was the glory of Esau Edom. That was his greatest time in history, was the 1950s. Because basically all that he had worked for centuries, the sleight of hand and the hiding of information, the changing of information, the removal of the Apocrypha from the Bible, creating a false narrative of black people and white people, and the democracy and all these things, it led up to the 1950s, to the dollar becoming the reserve currency of the world through a false war. World War I and World War II. World War I and World War II were both wars that didn't have to be fought. They were wars to get power. They were bankers' wars. And to set up the Esau as being the children of the Lord, putting them over there in the land of Israel. Which they are not the people of the Lord, which is very clear to anybody who's looking. All right, and as a result of that, they've come into power, and look at the condition of the earth. Look at the condition of the world. All right. So it says Scott Baio attends. This is Scott, picture of him, and he says he's at a news conference to discuss harassment allegations on August 2nd, 2018 in the Woodland Hills, California. Jesse Grant Getty Images. So there they are attacking him. He came against the Democratic Party, and what did they do? They immediately, why did they have to show a picture of him defending allegations? You see the slander and the back and forth, that's the Egyptian against the Egyptian. All right, then it says to take the show like Happy Days that represented traditional American values, good morals, a slice of Americana, to use that show and those ideas to promote two people in Joe Biden and Kamala Harris that condone and encourage foment, rioting, and looting is a little bizarre to me, Baio told Fox Business on Wednesday. So all this mudslinging back and forth. Prior to the TV appearance, Baio had attempted to dunk on actor John Stamos, who had volunteered to play Chachi by bringing up former Full House star Lori Loughlin's legal troubles. Loughlin was sentenced to prison for her role in the college admission bribery scandal. All right, and then they have the Twitter post that went back and forth. Ron Howard at Real Ron Howard. John Stamos, can I play Chachi? At Ron Howard. The most important election of our lifetime is right around the corner, and Wisconsin is the must-win swing state. So I am thrilled to announce a Happy Days reunion to support Wisconsin Dems on October 25th. Chip any amount to attend Wisconsin Dems organization Happy Days. And Scott Bio responded, should you be taking care of at Scott Bale, shouldn't you be taking care of Aunt Becky? So the way that they're attacking and going back and forth, these people are clearly and truly divided. Let's get that. Let's get that real quick. You know, a house divided. This is I think it's Mark 3:13. No. Hold on. There's plenty of those. Wait a second. I don't know why this thing is acting up. There we go. All right. It's taking its time loading up. Yeah, Mark 3:25. If a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And E is divided against itself, and they cannot and will not stand. We're gonna close with this last scripture in Second Ezra. This is Ezra's Second Ezra 15 and 12, and it reads, Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that God shall bring upon it. All right, and mass destruction, death, and chaos, rioting, riots, a police state, civil unrest, racial skirmishes, all that is at hand and all that's coming. All right. So with that, I'm gonna give all praises, going and honor unto Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Ba'Shem Rakakwadash Wa Abba Ba and Shalom.